There are 7 of them. Number 1, vast majority. So majority, just the word majority by itself, really just means more than 50%. Right? They even use that word when they're talking about Senate majority, government, is when they're trying to pass the laws, you know. Is there more than not? So over 50%. Sometimes they will use the word vast majority to signify that it's not just 51%, it's not just 52%, it is 90, 95, 98, something like that. It's going to be almost everybody. Not everybody, otherwise they would use a different word like everybody or completely or something like that. Just the vast majority, almost everybody. The word emblazoned means to be inscribed on something or to be written on something, to be drawn on something so that you can see it very clearly. So a logo or a name or a picture can be emblazoned, or you could almost use the word decorated onto something, onto a t-shirt, right? You can have the t-shirt is emblazoned with the logo, or what is something else that can be emblazoned? Are there any example sentences here? Emblazoned onto like a sign outside, you can see a sign or something like that. I think in the writing he actually uses the word not physically emblazoned, right? He is using it in a different way. Emblazoned in your brain, right? In our brain. So you can use the word like that too. Not physically, not literally emblazoned, but if it is emblazoned in our brain, it's almost written in our brain. Like that image is printed onto our brain. That thought or that image is printed onto our brain. He is actually that memory, right? Those memories have been emblazoned. That memory is printed onto our brain. So the literal meaning of emblazoned is to be written or drawn or inscribed onto some surface. But he's using it in the second way, like not literally, just figuratively. Number 3. Soulful. So soulful just means full of feeling, full of, your soul, full of expression, deep feeling, emotions. If someone's writing is very soulful, music can be very soulful. He uses it for music, right? Because he's talking about music. This music is very soulful. This example sentence: she has a soulful way of expressing her thoughts through poetry. Very soulful. So you see, even there is a genre of music called soul music. Number 4, anthem. Maybe you know this one. It is a song. Okay, it's always going to be a song that kind of represents something, that sums up the feelings, that sums up the attitude. Every country has a national anthem, for example. But a company can have like their anthem, their song or something like that. A university can have their anthem. Anyone can have your anthem that is your song, that sums up your attitudes, sums up your feelings. He is talking about actually, does anyone know? We'll talk about it later in a second. Number 5, this. Yeah.
So anthem, as you said, company has its own anthem, right? So
sometimes.
Not every time. But they call that corporate anthem or just anthem?
You could call it a corporate anthem to clarify, to specify. It would kind of depend on context, if you've already been talking about the company, their anthem. You don't have to say their corporate anthem. Yeah. Number 5, visceral. This is a good word. It's not super common, but it just means full of feeling and strong emotions. Now, the one from before, soulful, it's a little bit different than soulful. Visceral is always, like I said, soulful is talking about music and stuff like that, deeply emotional. Visceral, it's talking about, it's coming from your emotions, not from logic, not from reason. You know, it's just strong emotions, very base, crude emotions. So a lot of times advertising can be very visceral. Even if it involves some of the sexual stuff, that could be called visceral, right? That is relying on very base emotions, right? If something is very just the appearance of it, like just lots of colors appealing to like your eyes and colors, that could be called visceral. You know, it's just emotional and nothing to do with logic or reason.
Yeah, can you pronounce it again?
Yeah, visceral. So the S and the C both make, you know, C sometimes makes S sound. So they're just that they combine just to make a S sound. Visceral. And number 6, to tug at the heartstrings. So this means kind of to cause strong feelings of sympathy or a tiny bit of sadness or affection. Maybe if you see some cute picture of a puppy, that might tug at your heartstrings. Or especially if the puppy has no home or something like that, and it's telling you, please adopt the dog, blah, blah, blah. He is talking about just the music, I think, tugging at your heartstrings. Yeah, the music tugs at your heartstrings. You know, it really kind of moves you. It kind of makes your heart feel a little bit. A movie could tug at the heartstrings, especially if it has some sad part to it, you know, to cause that strong feeling of affection, sympathy, a little bit of sadness. And number 7, just note, I think, how does he use that word? The familiar notes, you know, that's just a musical term. It's not talking about a note that he wrote. It's just the notes. I'm not a musician, but I think everyone knows that, the tune, the melody, the notes perfectly. Any questions about those 7 words?
Can I use tug at the heartstring as adjective? Can I only I can use this as noun, or?
Well, actually, the word tug is a verb. Do you know what the word tug means? To tug, to pull. So you imagine your heart has some strings, right? Your heart can be pulled in different directions. Your heart can be pulled towards something. So this song, this movie really tugs at the heartstrings. So in there, tug is going to be a verb.
So can I use like this? This song tugs my heartstrings. It's okay.
Tugs my heartstrings. Of course, we would understand it. I think it would be better just to say tugs at the heartstrings instead of my heartstrings. We're going to understand you, but it's kind of one of those idioms that always comes in that set order with those set words. Yeah.
So felt a tug at my heartstring. So, you know, the usage is like, I felt a tug at my heartstring.
I felt a tug. He says that.
I mean,
Okay, in that sense, he says feels a little bit like it's tugging at. So, but you could use it as tug is like so many other words. It could be a noun or a verb. A tug would be a pull. So it could be a noun. It felt like a tug at the heartstrings. So you could use, it could be used like that. I guess it would be more common as a verb, I'm assuming. But you could use it as that. A tug can be a noun as well. Any other questions?